Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Elka, and welcome back to the Jen and Elka Show, where we talk about print on demand, and we love talking marketing and strategy, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this 7-part series. And today is actually part 2 of the 7-part series, and we just want to get right into it. And today, if you were with us yesterday, we talked about strategic shifts that changed everything in our business. But today we're talking about that one level deeper, because this is where a lot of people get stuck, not because they're not capable, but because they're building this side hustle, but they really want real income. So, like, well, let's say that again. You're building a side hustle, but you're ultimately wanting real income. But so today we're breaking down the real difference between a side hustle and an actual online business, and why the distinction matters more than most people realize. So let's get into it. We have a whole bunch of points.
Yeah. Okay. So, first of all, side hustles react, and you need to also just have a business plan. So, the 2 points and the two differences there is that side hustles react to whatever feels urgent in the moment, right? If you think about it, literally has the word hustle in it. So, you're
Yeah.
hustling. And then businesses make decisions in advance, right? And a lot of people, especially like myself included and Elka included, when we first started out on Zazzle, it was a side hustle to us because Elka was doing and juggling a whole bunch of other things to try and create income for our household. I was actually in university. And so I couldn't, create an online business and say that it was really truly a business because I didn't 100% commit to it. So for when we first started on Zazzle, it was truly a side hustle for us. And side hustle actually, it was like a really cool trending word during COVID, right? Create a side hustle because a lot of people got either laid off or their hours cut short because of the pandemic. And so side hustle was this word that people associated creating an online business with, but it's not actually the same thing. And so businesses think in advance and have a proven plan, right? And that's why in our Profit by Design Academy, we give you those 5 strategies, which we spoke about yesterday. And that proven plan allows you to really think as a business owner, because it's not just about creating a store on Zazzle, right? It's understanding your analytics, it's understanding your avatar or your perfect customer, it's understanding how to actually build your store online and create those intentional products. And that takes time and effort and also advanced planning. Right. So that doesn't mean that everything goes perfectly, but it does mean that you're building with intention instead of constantly catching up. Right. And if you think about it, once again, side hustle is like you're hustling in the moment to figure out what's the next new thing that you can, shiny object syndrome. What's the next new thing that you can create to make more money or do the things better or change and pivot and all those things, which is really great because as a business owner, you kind of have to do that sometimes as well. But you're not just constantly chasing the trends or chasing the things to keep hustling, right? So the moment when we started planning on our Zazzle businesses or print on demand businesses, because we're talking about print on demand in general, is that when we started planning instead of reacting, everything became clearer for us, right? And you've probably heard our story about in the first year, we only made $90 and we were reacting to things where we didn't know what the outcome would be, right? We were just trying the next new thing to try and make a difference. And once we actually implemented the 5 strategies that Elka created, that's where the business plan came in and where we had actually a clearer vision of where we could go with our business and had that mindset shift of creating a side hustle versus a real online business and treating it as a business rather than a hobby. And you've heard us say that before as well.
Yeah. And listen, the whole nature of print on demand feels like it should be a side hustle, and it feels like you should just get all this information for free because it's just a couple of hacks. Then all of a sudden everything will work and you'll make millions of dollars. And that is unfortunately how the scammers are trying to get you into buy their course. And we're not like that. We've been around, we're now in our 9th year of coaching. And we always say, listen, it was hard work. Oh, we didn't make a lot at the beginning, and you're not going to make a lot at the beginning, but boy, can you ramp up your business and make a lot later if you do it right, because you built that foundation. You built it as a business, not just chasing whatever the latest trend is. Because like the biggest question we get all the time, doesn't matter which print on demand platform it is what is currently selling, so that the people who ask that question then get that piece of information, which is the little trend, and then they go like, okay, I'm going to make this, and then they go like, but it didn't work. And we get so many people that are just dropping off, even though they could have probably made a 5 to 6 figure profitable online business using any one of the print on demand platforms, and yet they don't give it a real shot because they don't look at it as a business. They think it's a quick side hustle, cash infusion, right? Which is absolutely not the case. The cash infusion comes after you set everything up properly. And
Mm-hmm.
we learned the hard way, because that's what exactly happened to us. It took me, 5 years before I was making 6 figures in profit. And I laugh about it now because there was no help. There was no like information on YouTube. There was nothing. It was like stab in the dark, keep trying the side hustle, and finally something worked. But what caught my attention was that every single business, no matter what it is, if it's successful, it has structure. If it's successful, it has foundation. If it's successful, it has repetitive templates and systems. And I go like, well, how do I set that up using the Zazzle platform, for example? And you could do that with Etsy, you can do it with Shopify, you can do it with Amazon Merch, you can do it with any of the platforms. The main thing is you've got to look long term, not short term, and just grab a quick selling product that you made in Kittle because it looks like it's a big seller on Etsy. Okay, and we literally sit here and almost mock those people that do that, because they also aren't really doing the work now. They're just going to the platforms that are saying, or like to the analytic programs, I guess you'd call them, and they go like, oh, look, this t-shirt's trending. It sold this much in this many months, and so you should do it too. And it's like, but the thing that you make as a version or a copy, which copying is bad because that's illegal, isn't proven, because that person that made that t-shirt or whatever, profitable and possible as a seller that's a bestseller, has a foundation with their store, and they built that up, and they have a brand, and they have followers, and so that's what we're talking about today, is create that business where people are actually seeking you out rather than you seeking them out to hope for a quick buck. Okay, so I hope we've really honed that in, because that's the most important thing. We have other points, but that, if you switch that mindset, you're already good to go. Okay, so then let's get into the second point, which I think I covered a little bit of it. But second point is we're going to move from side hustles rely on motivation and businesses rely on systems. I kind of segued in there a very long way. Motivation is like, I want to make money, and let's do it now because everyone else says it's so easy. Just use AI and Kittle and ChatGPT and Midjourney and whatever and Canva, and I'll have my product up and selling in no time. A business relies on systems, right? And the system is, everyone just goes like, okay, well, that's a fancy word for I don't know. But systems, as I mentioned, are, you have a credible store, you have buyer reviews, you have a lot of different things set in place that create trust with that buyer so that they're willing to give you their money. And also you have consistency. So it's not just like a one-off t-shirt that you made. You have multiple options in your store. So you can cross-sell and you can upsell, and you can consistently sell these products because they attract more than one customer. And then also maybe how you set your systems up so that you know what your customer order value is. All of these things are important to the foundational aspects of your business. And if you don't have them as systems, and also just how you effectively work, right? So you're not as you're profitable rather than working 24/7, and you have things in place so it becomes more passive, and you don't pay a lot of money for all the things like ads and stuff such just to get the sales. Instead, you take home money, which is profit. Then those are all systems. And listen, as much as motivation is kind of like a juice of like a shot of caffeine, it's so unpredictable. Okay, and what you really want to do is understand that if your income depends on how you feel that week, then it's always going to be inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Who has not had like today the sun's shining, so I am a happy person. Yesterday the sun was shining, I was a happy person. The day before I couldn't even see out the window because it was so foggy, and it never got light enough that I thought it was the middle of the night the whole day.
Yeah.
I was so depressed. And so if you're working your business that way, that you're not being consistent, like I just couldn't do anything on that like 2 days ago. I was barely pushing myself out of bed. It's like another, like hit the snooze, hit the snooze, hit the snooze. And today I'm like, how much more can I get done in the next hour? Because I'm so excited. I'm all ready to go. And so you can't build a business on that. And so I hope I've pushed that point a
So
little
many
bit.
people are agreeing with you, though, and it's very true.
Yeah. And because it's a side hustle and it's up to you to show up, you're the only one that's checking to see if you show up, right? And it's like, oh, well, there's this really cool new Netflix series. Honest to God, I've watched so much Netflix because I'm my own worst culprit, right? Like I'm the worst enemy of myself because there's always something better on TV or there's always something going on. And I'm going like, oh, do I really have to go and make another 100 products on Zazzle? Yes. Okay. And also, if you do the work, which is the boring stuff, right? Like if you're motivated by the fact that you found this bestseller design and you're going to make your own copy, and you're going to make it better, which, hopefully that's not a copy, but you're actually going to improve on the design. You're still allowed to go and sell to that same buyer that wants that thing, but bring something new to the table. But then let's say you did that and you had this great design and it started to take off. And then you go like, what's next? If you have the systems in place, first of all, then you could leverage that product even more. That's one of the things that like we say we're print on demand marketing and strategy experts. We are, because even people who have sold like millions of dollars on the Zazzle platform, which we have the most experience with, they when they come to us as coaches and mentors, we can always find them at least 30 to 50% more income, even though they thought that they had already made as much money as they could. Okay. So because they didn't have the systems in place, they don't have the understanding of how they could scale even more. And then the second thing is if you're motivated for like that bestseller that you just made, you're going to go after that next adrenaline rush and get more bestsellers. So you're always chasing. But if and so then when you're told you have to put a system in place, it's like, oh, no way, that's boring. Okay. And so that's going to be the hardest part for you, because it's not fun work. It's boring, but it pays off. Okay. And as I said, and as Jen said, I know even the 5 strategy framework, it sounds so boring, but it's actually so cool, because if you do each one of those and you go like, well, what does it really mean in each of the cases? Every time I'm doing something in my business, what am I doing about the 5 strategies in each case? And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm planning. Oh, I'm leveraging. Oh, I'm marketing. Oh, I'm expanding. And then all of a sudden becomes clearer as to what really needs to be done. And hopefully that'll also get you a little bit more motivated. But a lot of it's going to be boring. But ultimately the cash rush is going to be the motivator. But knowing that you have an online business rather than just a rush to keep getting that next product out there with print on demand, so that like after watching 10 million videos on YouTube about what's the next trend, instead you're just happily going like, well, I don't know what their hustle is all about, but I'm making 6 figures happily with profit, and I'm barely working. Okay. And so that's what we want for you.
And I think you have to like kind of gamify it, right? And when you're saying, oh, it's so boring, but hey, I'm figuring this out. Like I like to think of myself almost like Sherlock Holmes sometimes when I'm deep diving into my store, because if something isn't selling, there has to be a reason for it, whether it be your design, whether it be that it's not in the right collection, whether it be that it doesn't have the right title and tags. I mean, you'll have to have the skill sets for sure, right? We see multiple different levels of designers on Zazzle, where it's, you know, somebody who is an extreme graphic designer, or whether you purchase graphics or you create them with AI, or if you're using your own artwork, right? So we can never guarantee income based on your own skill sets. But if you hone in on those skill sets and you realize, okay, maybe I'm not really the greatest at design, so maybe I should try and play around more and be playful with it, and, you know, learn a little bit more about how to use the design tool, or learn a little bit more about how to purchase graphics, or even make them your own. Like, it's exciting, I would say, if you are in that mindset, right? We can't feel entitled to the fact that since we posted a product on Zazzle, that all of a sudden we have to make money because we posted it for sale, right?
Yeah.
And if we think of it that way, and you make it fun and enjoyable while doing the boring work, then it actually is exciting. And then you are improving your skill sets, right? We speak about Brandon all the time, and Christine and Sandra and all these people. If you've been part of our webinars or our free content here on YouTube, like, you've heard those names. But Brandon actually had no design skill sets, right? When he first started out, he needed help with design, and he's one of our top earners as a client. And so understanding
Made
that,
$1 million profit. So
yeah, and understanding that Brandon
zero.
isn't perfect, right? And Brandon had to learn, and he had to take the time, but now he's really excited. He's like, I'm going to get into this new niche. I'm really excited to explore baby shower, even though baby shower was never his thing a couple years ago. And same with me. Like, I had to learn how to do branding. If you could ask my mom about how many times I switched my store banner and my profile icon because I was so fixated on figuring out what my brand was, and it flip-flopped every single day. I finally had to figure out, okay, this is who I am, right? But I didn't have any identity on the Zazzle platform when I first started out. And that was a big problem of mine, because I was just posting really, really random things for sale, because I never really focused on who I was actually trying to cater to. And we all start from the beginning, and we all have certain skill sets that we come to the Zazzle platform with. But if you take it as a fun game and you say, I want to improve myself as a Zazzle seller or as a business owner on Zazzle, then that gives you more of like entitlement, I want to say. Like, it makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's called, like, in this new day and age, like this year with the horse and all the things that people are talking about, it's the new buzzword. It's called alignment and being authentic. And if you're in alignment with your best self and your best skill sets, and then you go and you say, okay, I'm going to use this system, i.e. platform, whether it's Shopify, Etsy, Redbubble, Society6, Zazzle, then all of a sudden, as much as you doubted the fact that you had something to that people would be willing to pay for, your alignment with proper business skills and skill sets setting up your business all of a sudden makes you realize, oh, I do have something to give, because people are actually starting to buy my stuff, right?
Mhm.
'Cause you're not working against the grain. Okay,
Mhm.
are we on to part 3, or did we actually cover part 3 without introducing it?
Part three. I know. I was just thinking, because we've got our points written down. So point three is that side hustles focus on tasks and businesses focus on outcomes. And I think that kind of ties in, but it's a very big, important point as well. So side hustles stay busy, right? Like I mentioned, it's hustling on the go all the time. And then businesses track what actually moves the needle. And if many of you, whether you've been part of our courses or part of our free training, you'll understand that we always have that on our in the topic, right? That the businesses track what actually moves the needle. You have to understand what's going on. And that's kind of where I brought in the thing about being Sherlock Holmes, is that you have to understand how your business is working and not be afraid of the actual result right now, because today doesn't determine tomorrow. It doesn't determine a month from now. Like, what you do today and what you're earning today could affect and change something way down the road or a week from now, right? And so your earnings figures or your numbers or your analytics and all of those things, you have to know those things and you have to track them, because it will make differences in the future, being Sherlock Holmes and figuring out, okay, why is this happening in my business? And I think I mentioned this yesterday, but like, I had anxiety when I first started out on Zazzle. I hated going into my earnings dashboard, because I knew, for whatever reason, I had this inkling that like it hadn't changed. Like, it would be still zero, or would still be the figure from from yesterday. And that gave me anxiety, and it actually paralyzed me from actually doing the work and looking into why that might be, whether it be that I needed more products in my store, whether it be that I needed to fix my titles and tags or improve my designs. And finally, when I got over that hump of that anxiety of opening up my computer and actually just saying, okay, it's all good, right? You have to know what's going on to make the changes. That's where the difference came in, right? And so
Yeah.
on top of that is like, once you stop measuring effort and or saying, okay, I've worked so hard, but if you actually figure out what you've done to work so hard, it might have just been that you've been browsing Pinterest for a couple hours. I've been a culprit of that too, where you're like, I did all this work today. I worked from 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock and I put in my hours, but what did you actually do? Rather than we stop measuring, the effort that we put in and measured the outcomes, growth became intentional instead of accidental or not even existent, right? So I think everybody also needs to do a little bit of a reality check and say, did I actually do the work that I needed to do? And also understand what was going on in my store to do with the work that I needed to put into it, right?
Mm-hmm. And I love that saying that basically what you are doing today does not have any effect on what you're doing down the road. So, like, i.e.,
Mhm.
with Jen being anxious that she didn't make any more sales, does not mean that in the future she couldn't have made more sales, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a really big point too, because we're so hard on ourselves that the first thing we think of is we're not capable. And yet you are very capable. It's just you don't have the tools. And there's such a fear of failure, the way our society has programmed us, that we just don't even understand how we're being manipulated psychologically, because that's how we were taught and how we grew up. Whereas if, like, a lot of the business owners, if you listen to them that are really successful, high-end, millions and billions of dollars, they go like, I'm not afraid to fail. And
Mhm.
so that's also part of it, right? By looking to see if you failed today because you didn't analyze your stuff, that, like, as to what's happening in your store, you can't even move forward to say, well, if that didn't work, I've got to try something else. Instead, you're going like, oh, I'm just giving it my best effort, and like, it's all personal. Whereas otherwise, it's really just, oh, I tried this, didn't work, let's move on, right? And that is such a big shift that we want you to all hear today, because that's what we've noticed over our 9 years of coaching, is that most people have that issue first, and then when they get over it, they realize it's not them, it's their choice. It's their person is intact, and they actually have a lot of great ideas, and they have such creativity. That's why they're in this business in the first place, right? They love this sort of creative aspect of it, and when they stop being so hard on themselves, then all of a sudden they get to do the actions and realize that that's not a measure of their worthiness. Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
awesome. All right, point number 4, correct? Yeah. Okay. Uh, Side hustles trade time for money. Okay, yeah, we worked really hard. We're trying to make some money. Businesses build assets. Every one of my products on Zazzle is an asset. It's like a stock that I bought in my investment portfolio. If it's not operating at its peak capacity, it's a stock I'm going to either improve or reinvest in some other way. Okay. And those assets, I've literally had people from lawyers' offices contact me, because we're Zazzle experts. And they said that people have left their Zazzle stores in their estate. What can they do to continue to make the Zazzle store work and continue to grow and build money, so that the people who inherited it can actually keep earning money from it? Okay, so it is an asset. It is an asset of yours, and it's inheritable. So it's just like a stock portfolio. So why don't you treat it like that, right? You're building assets, and every one of your products, irrespective of whether you tried really hard when you made the product or not, that's not the issue. But those assets are out there, and they all have potential to increase or decrease your income. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. So if your income only grows when you're working, you've created another job, right? That's the other aspect to this. And people hate it when we talk about passive income, but that's what we're doing by building these assets. They are facilitated. They're like workers. They basically get all the tools they need to function without us constantly being at them. Okay. And so that's what you want to do. You want to think of each one of your products as a worker, and they either need more training, like either SEO, or they need upgrade, like in terms of their presentation, which is their design, and they need visibility, right? They have to go see more clients so they can make more sales. And so if you think about it that way, then each one of your products becomes an entity and an asset that you're building, and you put more time and effort in, and you also leverage them much better. Okay.
Mhm.
And real businesses build assets that continue to work over time. As I said, this is the part that everyone doesn't get, because everyone's in this get rich quick scheme mode. Whereas we don't have, like, I do have bestsellers on the all-time list, but I don't have a lot. And the reason for that is because I'm under the radar, but I'm making money all the time. And those products are making money for me. It's just that I have a lot of things set up as my workers that are nicely, consistently doing the job. Okay. I'm not here for the glory. I'm here for consistency and larger income streams. Okay.
Mhm.
And so that's, if you set your business up that way in any sort of print on demand, whether it's Zazzle or any of the other platforms, that's when income stops feeling capped. Okay. And we get this a lot. We really get so many people that are in the lack mode when they start on this print on demand journey. And that's the worst thing you can possibly do, right? There is an abundance of opportunity, and we want to, but it feels hard because you feel like you have to do a lot of work. And if you switch it from lack to abundance, then you realize there's your earnings.
Okay.
And we
Point.
can't make any income claims, but yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Point number 5 is that side hustles feel personal, and then businesses feel objective. And so this one, bear with me for a moment, because it's more that side hustles take every result personally, and businesses look at data and adjust. And this is coming back to Elka's point, saying that the high top earners, billionaires and big business owners, they are not afraid to fail, because they're looking at their results and also then taking actions, whether it be failure or success, right? And so if you're in a side hustle, like when I said that, I had anxiety and I didn't want to look at my earnings, and I know many people probably associate with that as well, where if you did all this work and let's say you posted 100 products for sale on Zazzle, and then all of a sudden you're not seeing sales, like you feel an emotion, you get down on yourself. You're like, well, why am I not selling? Is it frustration because of your lack of abilities? Is it frustration because Zazzle's too competitive? Is it frustration because of X, Y, and Z, right? And those are emotions that you feel because you're taking it personally. And if you remove yourself, and I know that it's a bit harder for us because we're creatives, right? We're putting in work and we are emotionally connected to our products, whether it be that you are an artist by trade or that you are now just becoming an artist and becoming creative. But we're on Zazzle because we like creating, unless you're here just for the money making aspect of it. But I think that many of us are here because we enjoy doing this, right? We enjoy being creative and artistic. And so having that emotional connection with your products has that, it's a barrier that you have to kind of take yourself away from, because you can't be emotionally invested in it that way, right? You have to be emotionally invested in your business, clearly, because you care about it and you want it to grow, but you can't take things personally when it doesn't work for you. And bringing back to the point that I said, like, today's results don't affect and do not have any let's say connection to, they kind of do, because you have to make changes. Of course, you can't just leave it stagnant if you're not seeing results, but today's results don't reflect what could happen tomorrow or a month from now or even a year from now, right? So if today you're not making any money, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you're never going to make money. Obviously, I can't make any claims and say that you're going to make money, but you have to realize that you have to put in the work and the effort into it, but you can't take it personally, right? Because if you take it personally, then emotions are getting involved, paralysis comes in, imposter syndrome. Like if you've been part of some of our mindset calls or even, watch some of our YouTube videos here, there's a lot of emotions that we feel and a lot of things that happen with our mindset. And that's why we find it so important to teach that to our clients, because you have to remove yourself from that. You have to look at things differently, right? businesses look at the data and adjust. So be the Sherlock Holmes and go into your store and do some sleuthing and see, okay, it's not me that's the problem. Maybe it's just the skill sets that I have, and how can I improve myself, or how can I improve my business, and what can I do differently, rather than just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? And so once you remove the emotion from the decision making, confidence increases, because then you feel okay with what you're doing, right? If you got an A+ on your test versus a D on your test, there's two different emotions there, right? You can take it personally and say, my teacher's such a jerk, she's whoever, he, she, doesn't like me, blah, blah, blah. Or you can say, okay, well, what is the difference? Like, I obviously need to study more. I need to implement things more. I need to do more homework. I need to improve my skill sets, right? And there are two different people in the world. Well, one says, hey, I hate my teacher. And then the other one says, okay, my teacher's trying to tell me that something needs to change. How can I do something better? The person who says the second version, and the mindset of being like, okay, I need to make a change, their confidence should increase, because now they're learning more skill sets and they feel more confident in their actions going forward, right? And so even when things don't work, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or that you're doing the wrong thing. It's just that something needs to change. And that's why Elka and I are here. That's why we've been in the coaching business for the last 9 years, because many people, they need that influence and they need that help, and they need somebody to teach them the things that both Elka and I learned on our own through trial and error, right? When you hire a coach to either become a basketball player or to eat healthier or to go to the gym, you're hiring somebody who has achieved something that you want to achieve. And so you're getting the results faster, right? And also learning with more of a proven plan, rather than doing it on your own. And so once you take that mindset shift and you say, I can do it, I just need the help. It's not that you are not skilled enough to do it. It's just that you don't have the right resources right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And or just like helping you see things from a different perspective, right? Yeah. So which is what Matt just did a really great job of aptly explaining, that you can either, we had an email the other day, it goes like, I hate Zazzle, I'm done with Zazzle. And then you look at their store and you go like, no wonder you're done with Zazzle. You haven't put any effort into Zazzle in a long time and you're still expecting a result. Whereas, the times have changed a lot and you have to keep up. Zazzle's no longer a clip art. And also the customers are so much smarter, right? They're not going to go and buy something that they could create on their own with AI. And they're paying top dollar, right? They want something. They don't just want to just have garbage from clip art sites, but also they don't want to have something that they could generate with AI themselves through a free site. Instead, you want to bring something to the table that actually they're going like, well, now that's different, and I really want that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so next point, or do you have any more points?
No, but I don't know. They don't have, it's a username rather than an actual name, but Wealth Motive Crew says, hi, everyone. I just got my first sale this week and I started 18 days ago, I guess is what they meant. So that's awesome.
Congratulations. We love hearing those wins. Keep them coming if there's anybody else who has some wins they want to share. Okay, so that was point number 4, right? So we're on point 5?
Let me just go back to yes, point number 5.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, point number 6.
Okay, because we love talking in between the points. So the point number 6, side hustles consume information, businesses follow frameworks. Oh my gosh. I know, and I'm sure that all of you have heard of our 5 strategy framework by now. If you haven't, then it's time, because that's what made the difference. And it wasn't rocket science, but it's a consistent thing that I can go back to, even like when I used it for my business, and say, this is what businesses need to operate in order to be successful and scale consistently over a long period of time. Because that's what I wanted for my Zazzle store. I didn't just want, I wanted money now, but I also wanted money 10 years from now and 20 years from now. And it's actually happened because of the 5 strategy framework that we have for not only print on demand in general, but like we teach it very specifically for Zazzle, but those people that learn that apply it to their Etsy store and their Shopify store and their any other place where they're doing print on demand, because it's their business principles, and they're the same with everything. The only thing that's really cool is Zazzle has this extra component of customization, which then makes it a different beast. So a lot of people who come from platforms where you just kind of upload one design and throw it on a gazillion products, that's not the way this operates.
Which is funny because they had that option before and they actually removed it because people were just flooding.
Exactly, because it doesn't work, right? It just floods the market with products, and that in coming in this AI generation time period in history, this is actually the biggest mistake you can make, is that you just use AI and then just whip out a whole bunch of products, whether that's on Zazzle or anywhere else where you can put up stuff for free. Obviously, you're not going to do that on Etsy or anywhere else where you have to pay for a listing, but this is what people think is the way to go, and it's not, obviously.
It's
Okay.
interesting though. I just want to jump in because you said that, like, pay for a listing on Etsy. I think that a lot of people on Zazzle, when they first start out, because it's free and because they're free listings, it's like people don't put as much effort into actually creating an intentional product because it's free, right? If you were to create Etsy listings, you would take a little bit more time and effort into doing your research and also understanding who your customer is, etc., because you're paying for the listing, right? You're investing money in this product, and because it's free on Zazzle, people are a little bit more liberal, and we're trying to teach people here that you have to be intentional, and you have to make sure that each product is made with a specific intention.
Yeah. And that brings us to the next point, is that you're here on YouTube right now consuming our content, but I bet you who in right in the comments, who has also followed and watched at least about 5 other people's comments and YouTube videos about print on demand. Like I have, and I'm always checking other people out. But then at that point, you start to realize, well, what really is true for me, and that is like this jumping from video to video means you're actually just doing a side hustle. Businesses follow a structured framework. They just take one thing and they go like, it's already worked for other people, and I'm going to make it work for me. Okay, I'll say it again. Side hustles go check out this person's ideas, this person's ideas, put them all into place, and then you have no clue what the heck happened as to whether it's working or not. Businesses follow a structured framework that is proven to work, and they stick to it, knowing that they'll even have some losses before they have more gains than losses. Okay, and clarity doesn't come from more information. It comes from the right order. And that's why we do the 5 strategies. Then they're literally a linear strategy framework. So you start with strategy 1, you do strategy 2, you do strategy 3, you do strategy 4, strategy 5. And all of a sudden you have a business plan. Okay. And you wouldn't do that if you like, oh, in your feed, all of a sudden someone like something from one of the POD gurus showed up. You like, oh, okay, do this, and like we're even kind of feeding that culture because we have our weekly show with the product and tip of the week, and so we're just kind of making you go all over the place. What we're trying to do is give you some open like ideas about opening your mindset to other options. But if you are truly interested in growing your business to a bigger scalable level, which is what we're doing here with this set of series, is you need to stay in your lane. You need to literally go like, I'm picking, like someone said in the chat, they were working on weddings, but now they're working on occasions, mainly baby showers, and that fits better for them. And it's like, yeah, you're in your lane now. That's good. Now, like there's enough opportunity right there to crush it. We have clients that we helped. Their like one baby shower invitation was making $5,000 in profit every single month. Okay, so you can make it happen. If you have 10 of those products, that's $50,000 profit per month if you want. We obviously can't make any income claims, but that person goes like, oh, I'm doing really well in baby showers, so now I'll do weddings or I'll do occasions. It's like, wait a minute, like let's get back into the lane of baby shower for you. You just crushed it. Let's just keep going there because like you've got more work to do. You didn't finish. like you think that's amazing. We think it's one of 5 other opportunities that you could have in the same lane. Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then our last point number 7, is that side hustles hope and businesses decide. There's a common theme here where side hustles is kind of flying in the wind and just hustling. Businesses have that structure. Businesses make the decisions. Businesses decide. So hope isn't a strategy, right? And I hope my store will work for me. Fingers crossed. I posted this product for sale, and I really hope that someone will buy it. And I mean, not that it's something that is not a good thing, but it's like some of our clients, when they first started out, they're like, oh, well, the only clients I have or customers I have are family members of mine. So I hope that somebody else will buy because, my family members can't keep buying my stuff. And unfortunately, that the family members are really supportive, which is really wonderful. But if you're trying to build a business here, you can't rely on your family members or friends to continue supporting your income by buying your things. So you can't hope, right? And I know that hope is such a, I want to say, a flimsy word, right? I mean, there is hope, right? You have hope, and maybe if you're religious, there's hope, and you pray to God or pray to somebody or the universe. So there is hope in terms of that it's a good thing to have. However, you can't rely on hope for your business, right? And that is not a structure that you can have that's sustainable, unfortunately. And so at some point you decide that this matters and you build it accordingly, right? And so if you are in it to win it, and you're here sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to now call myself a business owner, what does that entail and what action steps do I need to make? You're going to build your business accordingly to a plan or a path or a framework or strategies, because it is what will help work for you, right? You can't build this business on hope. It's not going to help you. And so this decision to actually take those action steps changes how you show up, which comes to your mindset and comes to your skill sets and comes to your confidence, actually, at the end of the day as well. And I know I'm referencing like past courses and things, because Elka and I have been here for 9 years with coaching in the business. And so every year we introduce different terminology and different ways to try and attract people and to make them feel like they're a business owner. But we had something called the CEO Mastermind. And we had a version of something where we were telling people, be the CEO of your business. And maybe that doesn't resonate with a lot of people, because if somebody thinks of CEO, you're thinking of, Apple and Walmart and all the high-end, big businesses out there where they have CEOs who sit at the boardroom table and they're all discussing the next business plans. But you have to really think of yourself as a business owner in that aspect, because if you don't, then you don't have the confidence to take certain actions in your business. Brandon has a multi-million-dollar Zazzle business because he's sold millions of dollars online. Elke and I have multi-million-dollar Zazzle businesses because we've sold $1 million of Zazzle products, right? We haven't made millions and millions and millions. Elke has hit over $1 million in total earnings, but if you look at it from the sales aspect part of things, because of that 10% royalty, like many of you probably have, almost $1 million online business, which is so cool to think of. And you have to think of yourself not just as somebody sitting in your PJs watching TV while you're making Zazzle products. You have to think of yourself as somebody who is of an authority and that you are a true business owner. And just one little quick story here is that we were in one of our coaching calls, and this was a woman who had recently retired from her teaching job as an educational person, teaching, I think it was university or high school, but higher education. And she had retired, and she's still friends with her colleagues. And she was embarrassed of telling her colleagues what she was doing because she didn't value Zazzle as a higher level of, whatever form of business compared to her as an educational teacher. And we told her, it was like, well, they're completely different, first of all, but you can't be embarrassed for the fact that now you've switched gears and you're becoming your own business owner. You have to take pride in the fact that you are a seller on Zazzle and that you're designing on Zazzle. Because if you're embarrassed to tell your friends and family that you've now retired, but now you're doing this thing on the side, then that already gives a negative energy to it, right? When you're working on your Zazzle business and you feel like, oh, well, my colleagues are still, on a high-end paying job, and I'm here on my computer working on Zazzle. And we had to help her shift that mindset. And she actually ended up making like a mission statement or an elevator pitch to tell her colleagues what she does. And she felt a lot more confident in saying the sentence that she would say to her friends to explain what she was actually doing. So I hope maybe that resonates with some people as well, because you have to take ownership and say, I am a business owner and I'm worth it.
And I'm successful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to do the concluding points, or should
Sure.
I?
Whatever you like, you can do it.
Well, the comments have been a little bit quieter today than before, so we want to just hear from a couple more people. Nina Runa just said sitting in PJ, sipping coffee and making products is fun too. And we agree with that. But and I like the energy around what you just said. That statement is really good, because it means that it's like a luxury, right? Rather than just like I can't do more than sit in my PJs. And so I love that like frame of mind, which is really important. But Jen makes a really good point, and this is why I'm sitting here in my business jacket, because I do own business jackets, but I'm not always presenting myself even to myself in my home as the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, which I have,
Mm-hmm.
right? And because we forget that sometimes, and that's the switch between side hustle, where even there you could make like $1 million in sales quickly, but be proud of having $1 million company that makes millions of dollars of sales every single year consistently, while you work less and less on it, and you get to be more of a CEO and manage things rather than being the worker. So I hope that ends this conversation really, really well before Jen takes us out to tell you what is next in store. But who resonates with that? Just put that in the comments. You've got to remember that you are whatever like Jen said, we've done a lot of things in terms of terms in the last couple of years, like badass, business boss babe,
Yeah. Oh yeah, biz babes.
CEO, everything. I know I swore, which I don't usually do, but I really fully believe that this has been the most empowering journey of my life, to have opened that Zazzle store initially and hoped to make money. And when I realized hope isn't going to cut it, and I started becoming a business owner, then all of a sudden I have done everything I could possibly have imagined and more. Paid
Mm-hmm.
off debt, helped all my kids buy houses. like we're just like, when I list all the blessings, I realize, wow. And it's not just because I made one t-shirt that looked like a bestseller on Etsy. It's because I've had a consistently earning income business on the Zazzle platform, in just in case anyone's asking, that's given me this much freedom and this much time, and like the usual things everyone talks about. So keep remembering that when you're sitting in your PJs, enjoying your coffee and making a couple. Okay.
All right. So if you're realizing that you want more than a side hustle, which I'm sure we've made our point that side hustles are fun, but they are always on the hustle, and you're just always chasing the next thing, but you haven't quite built the structure for a real business yet, this is exactly what the series is about. Okay, so you're here and you showed up for day 2, which is amazing. Hopefully you watched day 1. If you haven't yet, then you should go back after we end this video and go and watch day 1, and then join us next week for each day during the week for our series, which is a 7-part series. And we are working on our guide. Like I mentioned, we touched base with our team member yesterday who is creating it, and it's almost finished. So make sure that you watch out for that next week, for that diagnostic, to help you understand and do a diagnostic of your store to see if you really are in need of help. And the next day on Monday, we will be talking about how scalable businesses are built without running ads. And I know ads might not even be on your radar yet, but I know we have had a lot of questions from some of our clients asking about if they can send ads to their Zazzle products, which you shouldn't and can't do. But maybe ads, because there's so many ads out there on the online space now, maybe you're thinking, hey, is this something that I need to get into that is the next new thing? And so we're going to be talking about that, because there is not a necessary need for ads and how you can create a scalable business without them. It's a very important topic too, and it'll touch on a little bit more than just ads and advertising. So we will see you live on Monday at the same time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And take the weekend to reflect and maybe rewatch this video or watch the first one, because we did stay on for quite a long time, almost an hour each day, but a lot of that was impactful and lots of information in there. So you might need to rewind and watch it again to really let everything sink in. Last but not least, I wanted to just say we are hosting a sold boot camp at the end of January. And if you have heard about the Sold Bootcamp or you've been part of one before, we're doing another one at the end of January, and we will be sending out the links to join it very soon, but have that on your radar as well. It's 5 days, so Monday through Friday, with 3 trainings and 1 masterclass. And we have the option to join the VIP sessions as well, which means that you get an extra half hour with myself and Elka after the trainings to dive deep into your Zazzle store. And it's all about building the foundations of your Zazzle store and understanding your niche, your perfect avatar and customer, creating intentional products, and understanding how to promote your store and products as well. And then the masterclass sums it up on how to amplify your Zazzle sales in 1 month. And we were looking forward to having you there. And that's at the end of January. So we still have a couple weeks in between, but just having that on your radar, understanding that that's coming up. And we can't wait to have you be part of that boot camp with us.
Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for being here. We like someone said something about lunch with Jen and Elka. If that's what's happening for you, make sure you have lunch with us all next week. We'll be here, and we love bringing this kind of conversation to you, because I think it's really essential. It's not always just about what product to make and how to stick it up on a Zazzle, like a Zazzle store or print-on-demand store. It's more these kinds of conversations that make you think that, hey, there's more to this, and it's really about me leveling up, like in this case, you guys leveling up to understand how you can step into this really amazing role as amazing, successful business owner in the print-on-demand space. So we'll see you next week.
Mm-hmm. Bye.